Our learning objective continues today to write effective sentences for our non-chronological report. Today we will be writing a high-quality introduction for our non-chronological report. What shapes have we completed so far for our non-chronological report? Have a look at the sample over on the side. We've been looking at the title or the heading, and yesterday we completed our glossary. I wonder what might be next. Look at the introduction in the text. What does it include? So today we are focusing on the introduction, how to structure it, what to include. What does an introduction to our non-chronological report include? We have time adverbials at the beginning. We've also got a rhetorical question in the middle. And we have noun phrases to give extra description about the subject. Time adverbials. Adverbs of time tell us when an action happened, but also for how long and how often. Have a look at the example in the text at the bottom. We point at the time adverbial and it says for decades, so it's telling us over how long a period. We'll be looking at more closely at those very shortly. Time adverbials. List some adverbials to replace for decades. That is the example that's used in the text just on the right hand side of your screen. So I've got some there that you could use. Maybe you could think of others. For example, for years, for dozens of years, for many years. Can you create some of your own? Write them in your book. Now we're going to model our first sentence, which use a time adverbial. Independent writing. Use a time adverbial and describe how the pangolin has had people confused. Use the example. Try and add things, change things. We're trying to create the first sentence, which was in the previous slides. Look at the model writing. See how you can improve, change to finish that sentence. Record them in your book. A rhetorical question. A rhetorical question is a question asked to make a point rather than get an answer. So have a look in your text at the bottom. We've got a rhetorical question. What were these strange creatures? And again, that question is being used not to get an answer. It's there to ask the question, to provoke thought. Okay, what were these strange creatures? So being more inquisitive to stimulate thought and interest. Rhetorical question is a really powerful tool to use in your writing. We'll be using one very shortly. So we've got a question. What do you think the pangolin is? Is it a type of reptile? Were they lizards or a form of tortoise? What were these curious creatures? Write them down in your book. Now it's our model writing. We're going to write one sentence, which is using a rhetorical question. What were these strange creatures? So we've got a capital letter and it finish at the start of a sentence, and we finish with a question mark. The rhetorical question asks a question not for information, but so the author who's writing this, you, is getting the reader to question it, to think, to be interested, to engage with it. Now it's our independent writing. You're going to write your own sentence now that uses a rhetorical question. Create a question about the classification of the pangolin. So classification refers to whether it is a particular type of animal because of its features. Now we're moving on to our final sentence of our non-chronological report to complete our introduction, and it's noun phrases. A noun phrase includes one noun as well as words that describe it. For example, the black dog. Expanded noun phrases include more description. For example, changing the black dog to the big furry black dog. So we have two other adjectives in front of the black dog. Now if we have a look at our text on the side, we have got the final sentence, and it says, now we know these scaly, toothless creatures are actually mammals. And that's a noun phrase, an extended noun phrase. Noun phrases introduce the fact that pangolins are mammals. For example, in fact, actually, in actual fact, would you believe, you'd be surprised to know, today. Can you create some of your own? Write them in your book. Adjectives. List adjectives to describe the pangolin and create noun phrases. For example, armored animals, small scaly creatures. Can you list some adjectives of your own? Write them in your book. Now we have the model writing. Write this out neatly in your book. Now we know these scaly, toothless creatures are actually mammals. We're looking at the extended noun phrase of scaly, toothless creatures. Remember, you'll be writing your own very shortly. Independent writing. We're about to write our final sentence for the introduction. Introduce the fact that pangolins are mammals and create a noun phrase to replace pangolin. So have a look at the model writing on the previous slide. Have a look at that. Maybe borrow some ideas, but amend it, improve it, and make your own final sentence to finish your introduction. Remember to post your work online so we can mark it. Well done, everyone.